Deshaun Watson talked about Kevin Stefanski and Ken Dorsey visiting him in L.A. This again from QB Unplugged with Quincy Avery, Watson's personal quarterback coach.
Hey, it was a great time. We had a great time. I took him right down the street. Right down the street, the little Noble on the water, man, and we chopped it up. Of course, we got to know Dorsey, where his background, where he's from, and just how he operate. And of course, I knew Kev. So, and we barely even talked about football, to be honest. Like he said, like we really barely talked about football. Like it was some certain things like that, but it was like, it was just focused on just kind of getting to know each other, really just kicking it and having a good time.
Scott, again, that's kind of a sign of respect from both Ken Dorsey and Deshaun Watson, and you know what, that he wants to get a sense of how he can coach him, and you can get a feel for that.
Oh, you can, and you don't want the first time you really sit down with the guy to be April 15th in Berea, right? Like it feels, like too businessy, right? A little stilted. Everybody's on their best behavior kind of thing. Get a guy in his, natural surroundings. Obviously, Deshaun Watson's comfortable. L.A., the restaurant by his house. Like, it's just more relaxed, and I think you can relate better. Not that there's not opportunities throughout a season. Alex Van Pelt used to play golf with the quarterbacks, right? So there are those opportunities, but the timing makes sense with Dorsey being hired. Outlaw break, Kevin Stefanski gets to go. It just makes sense.
The other thing is I'm sure they gave him a little bit of a vision of what they plan on doing. They're not going to go in depth, but hey, we're going to do more of this, more of this, more of this.
Yeah, maybe a little coaching style, right? Here's what you can expect. You're used to this, maybe, and not that AVP wasn't a hard-nosed guy, but we see Ken Dorsey, right? We see, and I don't know if it's fair to, label him with that incident, right? But you see the smash of the tablet. Maybe he's like, hey, I'm going to coach you really hard. That's just who I am. That, just be ready for that. Don't hold it against me, whatever it is.
Yeah, and you know what? You remember, there's the stories about him with pickup basketball. So I'm sure it isn't going to be just the tablet. He's a competitive guy. But you know what? By and large, guys that play quarterback in the NFL like that.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Jacoby Brissett was like the best basketball player on the team, right? Like they have that in him. Deshaun Watson's a competitor. And I think the fact that, it was the same with AVP too, but Ken Dorsey played quarterback, right? Played in the league, not at a crazy high level in the league. Didn't start a ton, but he played in the league. National championship in Miami, right? Like all those things. I think that resume, I think it impresses the players. And Watson has referenced it on that podcast before. Knowing a lot about Dorsey as a player, just his background, and I think that gives a lot of credibility to Dorsey.